This broadcast, telecast, podcast, and whatever the hell else it is copyrighted by the Rad Network and the Rob and Steve Sports Show, all found at theradnetwork.com, and is for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of this madness without the express permission of the Rad Network and Williams Broadcasting and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is prohibited. So just don't do it. It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
Oh, and some nasty stuff in there. There needs to be a bite almost. Holyfield is very unhappy. Look at this. It looked as if Tyson bared his teeth at one stage of the exchange.
Yes,
Hit his ear.
He bit his ear. That's what Holyfield was in. A lot of pain from that. You see the blood on the ear. That was definitely a bite.
Welcome to 2 hours of sports and nothing but sports.
In the 8th inning, leading by 3 as Boone hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series. Boone, a hero in Game 7.
Email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
And now the Rad Network presents the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
Welcome in. It's a Friday as we head towards a Hall of Fame weekend in the NFL. We'll get the enshrinements and the speeches tomorrow. There was a game yesterday we didn't talk about at all, so sorry. Baseball, post-trade deadline, everything falling into place. One of those days where I go, do I want to do things by sport or by breaking news? And I actually decided, let's go back to something. Steve just kind of like dropped something yesterday, and it was starting to explode. And then it did throughout the day. The pitcher for the New York Mets named Jeffrey Yan, it's Yan, not Yan, I believe, right? Yan, who ignited some haters after his debut for the New York Mets on Wednesday night. He's a journeyman. He's been doing this for 5 years through the Marlins system, winter ball in the Dominican. He did a season in Japan. He played for the Rockies during spring training, but this was his major league debut for the Mets, and he was in the 6th inning of the Mets' eventual 6-5 win over Cleveland, and he got his first major league strikeout. And Steve yesterday was like, did you see this guy? And I hadn't. This is his first major league strikeout in Cleveland, or against Cleveland. He jumps and he lands and he slaps the mound, and then he puts his hands over his head. And is that arrogant? Is that too much? Hey, the kid's so the story started as he's excited. It's his first major league strikeout. Well, he's been doing this for years. This isn't new, and it isn't just because he struck out a guy for the Cleveland fans didn't love that, but I mentioned he played for the Rockies spring training game. There it is. That one included swiping the mound. He leaps, he goes down, he doesn't touch the mound. He swiped it. He raked it, if you will, with his left hand. And I think was it Port St. Lucie when he was in the minor leagues. He had 1 inning. And in the inning he got 3 strikeouts, and with every single strikeout came a celebration. So this is what he always does. Doesn't matter the importance, doesn't, because people tried to make a deal out of it. The guy on Cleveland that he struck out was a friend of his or whatever. No, this is how he expresses his joy, which he mentioned after the game Wednesday. He said he heard boos from the Cleveland fans. He said they can do what they want. They're paying for their ticket. I'm in my zone. I'm going to enjoy my game the way I want to. So this kid, first of all, he acknowledges the fans are paying my salary. They can boo me. But then he kind of goes, not to compare the two, but he kind of goes Wembanyama on us and says, yeah, this is how I play. I'm going to enjoy the game. So the debate yesterday, Steve, was the old school, would this be tolerated? Should it be tolerated? Should somebody on the Mets get plunked? Or is this the kind of joy and happiness that's okay? Or is he just showing everybody up every time?
This is an interesting one because he does do this every time, as you had stated, and I would give some leeway if, look, finally made it to the show. I think you said he is 27 years old, finally got there, struck out a batter. this is the moment you do need to enjoy. Remember for the rest of your life, the first batter you ever struck out, little celebration there. I don't think it's that big of a deal. If he's going to do this after every single batter he strikes out, and it continues, well, then you can't get upset if the batter hits a home run and stands at home plate for 37 seconds, throws the bat 30 feet in the air as it comes down, and then decides to now start running around the bases. And that's the part I I think it needs to be squashed now, because I don't. While I want the players to enjoy it, look, they're entertainment. They're playing for the fans. They need to enjoy this moment. They worked so hard to get there. Have some fun with it. I don't want it to turn into a WWE or something like that. And now it's like, oh my gosh, every single play turns into this thing. I still hate to this day the first down from, a receiver, whatever, gets first down, points and it's a first down. Dude, you're down 37 points in the game. It's your first down in 3.5 quarters, and you're going to celebrate it like it was a big key play in the Super Bowl. So I want them to have fun. I want them to enjoy it. I'm just fearful if they allow it to continue where it's really going to turn. And as a fan, I will really stop enjoying the game if it just turns into a circus.
Quick clarification: he's 29, and so that even more would add to the story if it were true. Not only would it be his first major league strikeout, it might be you. This might be it, pal. This might be your biggest moment. The part of if it were true was if this is the only time. No, like we said, it's documented. He's been doing this since the minor leagues. And when you told me the story yesterday, and I hadn't heard it, I flippantly said, "Act like you've been there," because I was envisioning not the first down example. The one I always picture is Cam Newton, that idiot, scoring a touchdown to put his team on the board like it's 35-7, and he runs it in to score the 7 points, and he does a stupid Superman thing. No, sorry, dude. It's 35-7. Hand the ball to the ref and walk the hell away is my act like you've been there thing. Then I heard, oh, first strike. Oh, wait, he does this all the time. So it does get old. And now here's what I saw yesterday in researching it seemed like everybody was having fun with it. The Guardians were making fun of him. There was a point at which the Guardians went up and then they were in the dugout and they were doing basically their version of the mocking jump up and down dance. If he stays in the majors and he keeps doing this, it seems to me like the plunking is inevitable, or some type of on the field metering of this. And the reason being, I know we're more tolerant of this stuff, it seems, in a lot of ways. But you go back, God, are we 40 years? Close to 40 years? Just Eckersley and his fist pump. I mean, that's what he did. It was an aggressive fist pump. That was it. But boy, he was not liked for a while. Fist pumps tame today, and certainly compared to this.
Yeah, and a couple of things on him. One, 29, that's 2 years older than 27. When you come up this late, you're not going to have a long career in the big leagues. It's a cup of coffee, and chances are you're going to be down. He's long relief, so he's coming in when the game's a blowout type of thing. I don't see him at this age at 29. Couldn't tell you stuff or anything, but if you can't make it to the bigs before 29, you don't have dominating stuff, which means you'll never throw in the seventh, eighth, nine. You're a mop-up relief pitcher in blowouts, and that means you're getting blown out most of the time. Really, they're going to be down 13-3, and this is what we're going to watch out on the mound. That's going to get old really fast. I give him this one, but the manager's got to sit down with them and say, okay, hey, look, welcome to the show. Act like you belong here. And you got to tone it down. Triple A, double A, single A is a different story. Yes, you were able to get away with it, but you're not going to last long here if this is what you're doing in the situations when you're pitching, which is the game is not close.
I wonder, too, how long it's New York. They've got nothing. The Mets are awful. They're still riding the high of the Knicks. And this is for now one game. The New Yorkers embraced it. Yeah, he's our guy. It's cool. How long will they ride this like Jeremy Lin? Remember that name? A little bit of Linsanity. How long do we get a little bit of what Yan sanity? Where the Mets are like, hey, eyeballs, tickets, and then like you said, it's not like he's a long termer anyways. Do they wait to have the conversation? Do they know they're just going to send him down? We get a couple weeks of this, and then they try to make him into America's sweetheart if they're throwing him enough, and then somebody gets plunked, there's a fight, and then America manufactured drama.
And it's going to come down to his performance on the field. If he's shutting people down and turning into a dominant pitcher, it's a lot more tolerant. But I believe in this situation, he then after the strikeout, like walked a batter, hit a batter. Next thing you know, bases are already loaded. Yes, he got out of it, didn't give up a run, but he pitched himself into trouble on top of that. That consistently happens. He's going to pitch his way out, and he's going to be sent down here very shortly.
Yeah, and exactly. If you're going to, this is the old walk the walk, talk the talk thing in reverse. If you're going to aggressively fist pump, if you're going to do that thing that Aroldis Chapman does when he ends the inning, where you stand on the mound as if to say, I own you because I just struck you out, you better be Dennis Eckersley or Aroldis Chapman, not Jeffrey Yan.
Yes, you better be a Hall of Famer. And Albert Bell years ago said it ain't bragging if you can back it up. And Albert Bell with his back could back it up. This kid's not going to be able to back it up, at least based on his professional career to this point. He's not backing up anything.
Perhaps a bigger story in the sports world, although it didn't get the coverage it should have. The NBA, you'll remember, launched its investigation into the LA Clippers and Kawhi Leonard back in September after internal documents showed that the Clippers owner, Steve Ballmer, Microsoft guy, jumps up and down, invested $15 million in a bank called Aspiration. That same month, the Clippers, who Ballmer owns, signed a 23-year, $300 million deal with Aspiration, the bank that Ballmer had invested in, making the company the first founding partner of the Intuit Dome. 6 months later, Aspiration, the bank that Steve Ballmer, who owns the Clippers, invested in, signed a $28 million deal with Kawhi Leonard, an unnamed, who plays for the Clippers, who Steve Ballmer owns, an unnamed, at the time played for the Clippers, an unnamed employee who works for Aspiration, said this whole thing was done to circumvent the salary cap. That's what the investigation is, has been, was. And this all centers around whatever the NBA finally decides, because they haven't finished it, who's responsible, because Kawhi did it, if he did it, while he was playing for the Clippers, but he's been wait, he hasn't been. There's a trade on the table to go to Toronto, but would Toronto get punished? Would Kawhi? Well, if Kawhi gets punished, Toronto gets punished. They're trading for this guy. Now Kawhi can't play. Oh, wait, so everything's sitting here in stasis. The Clippers have repeatedly denied they funneled money through Aspiration. Ballmer has said the team simply made an introduction. Hey, Aspiration, meet our star player Kawhi, and then they went off and Ballmer wasn't involved. Now, yesterday, comes word that Kawhi Leonard also had an undisclosed sponsorship agreement worth millions of dollars with the company that designed the Clippers video board inside the Intuit Dome. If true, a pattern is emerging. Clipper endorsement company, Clipper star player endorses company. We facilitate allegedly. Hey, Kawhi, you're making a lot more than that, than the league maximum. Pablo Torre, who's segued from being an ESPN contributor, although he still does, pardon the interruption, he does his podcast. It's called Pablo Torre Finds Out. He's gone into the investigative reporting route. He's the one who's been just endlessly nipping at Belichick's heels over everything. He uses Freedom of Information Act reports, etc. He reported yesterday and interviewed someone identified as an anonymous high-level source under contract for the Intuit Dome, who alleges the sponsorship deal for Kawhi was 1,000%, that's a quote, to circumvent the salary cap. It was funneling money from the Clippers through Daktronics. That's the company that makes it. Back to Kawhi. I saw this story. I went, is Prescott involved? Holy crap. The quarterback. No, it's just called Daktronics. They're based in South Dakota. So it's Dakota, you get it. Also, Pablo Torre cited another anonymous former Clippers official who said they knew that Leonard had a sponsorship deal with Daktronics, who designed the Halo board in the Intuit Dome, which is the largest double-sided Halo display built in an arena. The Clippers have not responded to any requests. You've loved this story, sarcastically speaking, Steve, since the beginning. You had to just cheer at this news or roll your eyes into your brain.
It didn't surprise me at all. That's the part about it. I find it interesting that Toronto turned in Kawhi for this when he was trying to negotiate a contract with them, and yet the NBA did nothing about this in any way, and just let it go. And then you finally get a reporter, and so few out there really seem to want to do their job. And you get a reporter who finally goes and does their job, discovers this, gets verified information from anonymous sources. And I'm not a huge anonymous source type of guy, but he did his job, and we're finding this out. I think at this point, Toronto's got to just let him go, don't they? They just say, look, we're going to avoid the trade at this point. I think the NBA, if true, and I believe this is true, is going to come down pretty hard. And is Kawhi going to get a year's suspension? Are the Clippers going to lose a first-round draft pick, get fined $1 million? I think the evidence is there. I find it interesting that the NBA couldn't do their own investigation. They had a 3-year head start on this investigation and didn't do anything. So that gets into the whole thing, the NBA, the integrity and everything they do there as well. And I just, it's ugly, and it's just going to keep getting uglier.
So bouncing around on various things in there, the idea of the Raptors avoiding the deal. To me, this is a different version, sort of the Tony Romo story. When it first came out, operating while intoxicated, everybody kind of sat. Nobody said anything. It just sat there. And then body cam footage came out, and he kind of looked like an ass. And then people started to whisper, "Oh, open container." The minute that hit, CBS terse announcement: suspended indefinitely. No, we support him, not just that. Raptors, they go to the NBA, they say, by the way, what's going to happen with this investigation? Oh, okay, well, we need to pause this. They call the Clippers. Clippers go, yeah, let's pause. Now we have our open container. It's like, okay, the first time we were going to see how this look. Okay, where there's smoke, there's a fire. But I think the biggest part is what you alluded to. We go back to the Kyle Shanahan story. For 11 days, this accident had occurred. ESPN knew about it. It was sitting in a public information system, and it wasn't until the story broke, because the Niners told everyone, Schefter told everyone, and ESPN told everyone within 2 minutes of each other, that an SI.com reporter went, did we miss this? Did they miss this? Yep, there it is. Easy. Keystroke. I just found it. You bring up, the NBA has been doing this for quite a while, this investigation, and Pablo Torre has to come along and find anonymous sources within the Intuit Dome. He's Pablo Torre. He's really making a name for himself. He's an investigative reporter. I get it. He's not the NBA. How hard were they trying? These things on that context are what bug. We know the Shanahan thing. They're too entwined. The NFL owns 10% of ESPN. They want them. They're all just, now it takes a reporter to even find out information that an investigating body, and I guess the NBA, they hired an outside company. Well, they didn't do a very good job if Pablo Torre found this out like that.
And they're paying him millions of dollars, that, for this investigation. And I'm wondering, because a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this, I had stated that I had read in one of the articles that there was another one, and they were investigating another company that may have been involved. I'm hoping that's Daktronics. Could you imagine if there's a third company that's going to come out that they found this other one, and now the Daktronics is there, and they got to go one more deep into this. And this is where, as you said, they found the smoking gun. Here it is. This is, and I think they got to take some action now. You can't let this drag into the season. I know the commissioner said, "Oh, this may drag into 2027." For it to drag into 2027, how deep is this hole and how much more are we going to find? It's crazy.
And wouldn't like if Adam Silver, when he said that this might drag into 2027. Oh, I thought it was a dog. It's a baby. Even better. Our shows, because we both broadcast from home, are constantly, or not constantly, are regularly interrupted by dogs, babies, and other things. Does the if when Adam Silver said this might drag into 27, is that because this outside company had given him a heads up? We're scratching at something. And doesn't Silver have an obligation maybe to say to the Raptors, this is different? I mean, it's not really interference. That's him. He's the commissioner. He's supposed to uphold the integrity of the damn game.
If you tell me that we found out when the Toronto Raptors and Silver found out, then Silver's got to go. You're the commissioner. You oversee the whole league. You're the one who's supposed to be in communications with the investigating. And if this story broke without the NBA, there's no way it did. We all know they had to have this knowledge. They were prepared. They were probably reached an agreement. Okay, you can drop this on Friday morning, right before the weekend. Maybe it can get in the weekend and it falls out of the news cycle. But they know. You can't tell me they don't. And if they don't know, then he's got to go too.
So we had an MLB story. We're about to do an NFL story. I'm going to squeeze in one other NBA story because it involved names that you know, and one of these things that we'll be looking for this upcoming season. The Washington Wizards and Anthony Davis's agent, Rich Paul, yes, that Rich Paul, LeBron, have decided mutually to wait on any talks for a potential extension until after the season starts. They're both throwing out 20-ish games so they can all marinate over the possible extension under the guise of how this is what you're supposed to believe, that the Wizards are going into this season to contend. How's it working? 20 games in, does AD fit? Is he filling the role as our veteran leader that we wanted? And how does AD feel about how things are going here in Washington? This is a story because yesterday he became eligible to sign his extension up to 4 years and $275 million. Wizards, meanwhile, same song, different year. I don't know. They've lost 64 or more games in each of the last 3 seasons. Jesus. They got AD. They got Trae Young. Their idea is accelerate the rebuild with hopes that the duo will elevate Washington to a playoff contender. Will they? That's your question, Steve. The AD stuff will work itself out. It's an opportunity to say the Wizards were promised for the 4th year in a row. All right, we figured it out. The draft, we got the right. Are they the Hornets this year? Are they competitive?
They could be, and they're one of the fascinating teams out of that Eastern Conference. Is are they going to be able to play together, work as a team, and build a future for this franchise? They have some talented players, as you said, Trae Young, Anthony Davis. They drafted DeBonza with the #1 pick. They still got Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, who was a really high draft pick, sitting there on the team too. They went and traded for DeAndre Ayton. I think it's great that both the team and Anthony Davis are saying, look, let's see how the pieces fit. If we can be competitive, if we think we can make a run, and if so, and we think we have this future, then yes, it makes sense to make that big investment and move them forward. If it turns out to be, look, the pieces just don't fit, we don't have that cohesiveness and that chemistry that we were looking for, we're not playing the style of ball we want, then it opens it up. Okay, hey, look, Anthony Davis is going to be up there. And with that sign and trade, not that many teams can take on that kind of money, but I think it allows for Anthony Davis to be a very sought after piece, even though his injury injuries have riddled his career, especially over the last several years. But he's an interesting piece to go out for one of these teams trying to compete. And let's see what happens there. So it's a win-win for the Wizards and AD to let it play. And I just want to see how they mesh, how they get along. They could be that Charlotte Hornets team, but the Charlotte went and traded away LaMelo Ball, and we got to figure out if they didn't just trade away their chemistry and everything they did the last few months of the season and traded it all away, kind of like the Knicks did when they made the Julius Randle trade that next year. They just weren't the same. They didn't have that closeness that we saw the year before. So I love it. There are so many teams competitive in the Eastern Conference, and maybe for the first time in several years, we won't be bagging on that conference as much as we have in the past.
Whether we get to it today or next week, because it's not overly timely, another team that falls right under that heading, in fact, the biggest team of meshing and all that, the Sixers. Interesting comments coming out of Philadelphia, including from Jaylen Brown, who acknowledges the egos that are involved in them meshing. And there's a little Easter egg in there that I want to get to when we have time. So whether that's today or next week, we will. On the AD thing and the Wizards and waiting, Rich Paul being his agent, and what we know of Rich Paul and how he works publicly, the fact that it's being handled the way it is means this really is mutual. Like, we know how Scott Boros works, and we all know how Rich Paul works. And for them to be saying identical things means they really are literally on the same page. So I'm with you. Especially after the regular season we got from the NBA last year, anything that makes me believe it's going to be interesting before April this year, I'm thrilled. Or April next year, I suppose. Back to the NFL.
Oh, no. And one more thing on that. Why don't more teams do this? Just sit down, let the season start playing. If they're going to be bad, AD doesn't want to be there anyway. It gives them that opportunity to move on. These are the common sense things that I just wish more sports teams and athletes themselves would just go and do. Look, let's negotiate during the season. My agent can take care of that. And if it's working for us, great, I'll sign. If it's not working for us, it's not working for you, and let's move me to someplace else.
We had somebody else recently that signed a deal where we were able to say, wow, this really seems like everybody came together on it. And it's so sad these things stand out, though. That the right thing is become the rare thing. So moving back to the NFL, speaking of signings and stuff, this is over. Jahmyr Gibbs has agreed to his 3-year, $67.5 million deal, could go up almost $10 million. 51.5 is guaranteed. He's 24, enters his fourth season after 3,500 rushing yards, 39 touchdowns, 1,500 receiving yards, 10 receiving touchdowns in his first 3 seasons. And you were talking yesterday, when we were talking about this, Steve, the Lions are your team. It was originally Gibbs, Montgomery. Montgomery's gone, and I get it. Gibbs is like, hey, I was always the A-lister, and this is my season, and I want it. Do they have the new Montgomery as well, ready to go and help him?
We'll see. They got Pacheco. They signed him from the Chiefs because the Chiefs went after Kenneth Walker and signed him on. And Pacheco has a ton of talent. I mean, he has shown he can be really a frontline running back in this league. It's just injuries have played a factor there. And if he's healthy, I think it's a nice fit, and he can move into that David Montgomery role.
And this, to me, this Jahmyr Gibbs signing is the reasonable, kind of sort of similar but not different version of, okay, it was time. Robinson got his money, Taylor got his money from the Colts, and rather than I'm really gonna stick it to you now. I'm gonna go up by 10, 20, 50%. He just went up a little bit. He, as far as I can tell, he deserves the contract, and it's over. Get your ass into, he's been there the whole time, but now actually participating, move along. Good outcome.
It was. He got his money. I'm a little disappointed as a Lions fan. I'd like to use that money because he still had 2 more years on his contract. Use that money towards bringing in some help. Our window's right now. You got to win would it be something if they actually won a Super Bowl? I'd love to say that I'm hoping for that because I am, but you know me, I'm just, hey, let's get to the NFC Championship game again. make the playoffs, because we didn't even make the playoffs last year. I'm that pessimist when it comes to, the Lions, and how are they going to blow this one too?
Well, and yes, I mean you are the king Eeyore with all your teams, but certainly with the Lions, it's founded. And the other thing too, with football in particular, when you've been beaten like an abused dog as you have for your entire lifetime, is we talk about all the time windows. You're probably, correct me if I'm wrong, in the best window ever of your lifetime. That the Lions have a legitimate window to
Not
no.
even close.
Oh,
This is the only window we have ever had in my lifetime.
the only one.
And,
Okay.
and I said a couple of years ago that this is the first time that during that season that I actually felt that we could go to the Super Bowl. This year, right now, is the first time going into a season that I feel that the Lions can win a Super Bowl. I have never felt that in my entire life. I feel that this year. So, without a doubt, this is the first time I've ever experienced with this team a window.
So I'll create a little meter every week. We'll check Steve's meter. I'll figure out a name for it. Where's the excitometer or something. Am I right that when you said a couple years ago, first time in your lifetime you thought they could get to the Super Bowl, was that the infamous Dan Campbell NFC Championship fourth down?
Yes,
Year?
it was.
I just wanted to remind you. Like, that was against the Niners, right?
Yeah, it
Mr.
was.
The Niners have 20 guys that aren't playing because you're hurt.
Yeah, just go with Mr. Walk out on the game at the end of the third quarter and drive home from your son-in-law's house.
Too long, but I'll work with it. I'll storyboard the whole thing. All right, one more. One of the guys we have praised for his contract signings and saying give the team more money and win. It wasn't the exact one that I was thinking of, but I like seeing more of it. It's great with young players. It's all about the San Jose Sharks. Macklin Celebrini, we already told you about. As they have really reshaped their roster this offseason, haven't they? As they continue to follow this pattern that you, Steve, said they should 3 seasons ago. Give them 2 seasons, that third one, they're there, right? They're okay. So Celebrini signed a massive 5-year, $94 million extension. He'll be the highest paid player if everything stays static, because that doesn't kick in until 27. He didn't have to sign it. He did. They got Trouba. He signed his 4-year deal for some veteran leadership. They got Darnell Nurse. They got Kesserling. They traded to Ottawa, so they got the number 9 pick. And then this morning it became official. The Sharks have re-signed forward Colin Graff to a 3-year, $12.5 million contract. He's 23. Hello? What is with this team? Bunch of children. 21 goals, 25 assists. He had more assists than he does years on the planet. That was at a full season, 81 games. General manager Mike Greer says, quote, Colin was a big part of our team's improvement this past season. Effective penalty killer, versatility, attitude, work ethic. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
I think it's a good deal. Paying their younger players. And if you watch Anaheim Ducks last year with a big surprise team, next thing you know, like all their good young talent, which they've been stockpiling and are finally making an impact, they're all hitting that restricted free agency or free agency. They're starting to lose them. The Sharks need to lock them up. They need to be looking at some, future with this team, because I think their future is so bright right now. And, a couple of weeks ago, we were discussing this team, and I'll tell you right now, I sat down yesterday. It's funny you hit on hockey, and sat down and did my power rankings for the NHL in order to get them going. Because keep in mind, NHL going to 84 games, not 82 games. They've added to, and they're starting September 29th. So they're starting right as the baseball season ends. And as of right now, I have the Sharks in the 8th spot of the playoffs, but in a playoff spot out of that Western Conference. So I have high hopes for them, and I think it's only going to get better moving forward for this franchise.
Do you have them in that, what we would call in the music industry, do you have them in the 8th spot with a bullet, meaning you believe there's an upside? You've got them 8th, but they could move up. They could You wouldn't be surprised if they surprised you. There's a way to put it.
I would not be surprised if they surprise you, because I have both the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks ahead of them, and maybe they can go and leapfrog those up. So now you're sitting at the 6th spot, and the team I have behind them is the Utah Mammoth. Good team, but I think the Sharks are clearly better than the Mammoth at this point right now. So to me, it's their playoff season. If they don't make the playoffs this year, then it's on them. They need to. This is the step they need to take and put. The fans will love it. They'll start selling out, and they may still have been selling out, but there will be a lot more excitement this year because I think they'll be in that playoff hunt the entire season.
The most important thing to take away from all of this is 1 month and a day from now, you'll have both baseball and college and professional football. 1 month, 2 months, less than 2 months from today, you'll have baseball, college football, professional football, and hockey. And basketball is right. It's all coming back. It's good. It's a good time to be alive. We're
Rob
okay.
and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A microseal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes microseal this way with a bunch of AI words. Microseal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that microseal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply microseal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had microseal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. Microseal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What there's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at advantagesteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's advantagesteam.com, where you'll learn more about MicroSteel and everything else that Joel offers. At advantagesteam.com, that's advantagesteam.com, advantagesteam.com.
This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show. Call the show at 888-587-5355 or email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
Heading over to Major League Baseball, wasn't it just yesterday? We were talking about Sonny Gray becoming the first 14-game winner in the American League. Now Christopher Sanchez has become the first 15-game winner in the majors as the Phillies beat the Nationals 7-3 last night. That's their fifth victory in 6 games. Sanchez allowed 2 runs on 6 hits in 5 innings for his 5th consecutive victory, and will combine with that the Phillies and the Braves, who beat the Marlins, just killed them 11-3. Ronald Acuna Jr. hit 2 home runs, including this goofy. It's not really a little league play, but you had center fielder Esteury Ruiz and left fielder Heriberto Hernandez. They decided to help out Acuna. If you saw it, they was third inning, left center. They collide, kind of, sort of. Their gloves overlap, and the ball boop, goes over the wall. Did you see it, Steve? It's like, whoop.
No, I did not.
But it's comic. It didn't matter. I mean, obviously 11-3. So point of all this: Braves are up in the National League East by 8.5 games over the Phillies. There was earlier this week. It was like 5.5. Whoa, the Phillies Phillies have won 5 of their last 10, but the Braves have won 8 of their last 10. Wild card. The Phillies are in, but they're only a game ahead of the Diamondbacks, and then the Padres are a game behind them, and the Marlins. Let's start with the Phillies and the East in general. Are we back to there is no race? There could only be with a dramatic Red Sox-like performance by the Phillies or collapse by the Braves, and other than that, Phillies are going wild card.
I think the Phillies are going wild card, but I'm not ready to say that positively because the Braves and their pitching is still shaking. They went out and they acquired Malley. He's going for the Braves tonight. Martin Perez yesterday. Their starting pitching is still shaky. I love their lineup. I think they can compete just like the Phillies with the Dodgers. Today I was reading an article and we talked about the Braves and how we thought they'd go get a starting pitcher. They did go after DeGrom, as we were talking about on trade deadline day, and they had a deal pretty much in place. The Rangers then went to DeGrom, and DeGrom said, no, I'm not waiving my no trade. So that killed that trade there. And the Braves came out and said that they felt that DeGrom was the only pitcher outside of Skubal, but the only pitcher out there on the market that they felt was better than the pitchers that they had. And when DeGrom said no, they said, okay, we're just going to roll with what it is, and we'll address, any other needs that we have. I find that a little surprising that they felt DeGrom was the only pitcher better than what they had when they've DFA'd, Martin Perez 5 times, and yet they keep bringing him back. But that they're living with the hand they have, and they feel it's still a strong enough hand to win this division.
So the Phillies, then we put them basically in that dogfight. They're behind the Cubs, but they're in. They're the second team with only that game lead over the Diamondbacks, and then you got the Padres, the Marlins. They're there. We'll get to the rest of the wild card, and here's what we got this weekend. We'll start with the Phillies. They're at home, and they're hosting the Toronto Blue Jays, and they're throwing Zach Wheeler tonight against Soriano for the Blue Jays. That big pickup. As the Blue Jays get ready to say, hey, we were just in the World Series. See you next year.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays are building for next year. They went out and they acquired Soriano. I thought it was a great trade. He is a ground ball pitcher, had a really good first couple of months, has been struggling a little bit as of late, but he's still sitting at 9-6 ERA, a little above 3. His whip's sitting right around 1.2. And in his last 3 outings, he's 1-1, ERA of 2.65. His whip is just above 1. So he's back to throwing the ball pretty well. But Zach Wheeler, this guy's in that Cy Young talk for the National League. He's been unbelievable. 10-2 ERA, a little under 2.5. His whip is 0.9. But he has given up some runs because of 3 homers in his last 3 outings. His ERA is north of 5, but his whip's still sitting at 1.08. The Phillies just need Zach Wheeler to keep doing it. We saw Christopher Sanchez in last night's game. Their top, what, 5 of their top 6 batters in that lineup put up 2 hits. And that's what it was. They were slumping there pretty badly up until a few games ago. And they got a rise, and this lineup is starting to hit again. And as long as the lineup's hitting, they'll be there.
And this look, I know, and I agree with you. Toronto made a lot of good moves to prepare for next year. There's still whatever Toronto has been this year, and this does have to go in that category. This is a team the Phillies can't be losing to. They can lose one, right? I mean, it's a weekend series. These are teams you have to win every series against if you're going to race for this thing all the way into the end of September.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays, they know they're not, but they're still a good team. They're a dangerous team. They're not one of those teams, you want to be facing with a must win, but you do. You have to put these teams away.
For 2 months or so, it seems like every Friday I'm like, wow, there's a 3 or 4 marquee series is. And part of it lately is we got 20 teams mathematically in the wild card, but there are just some obvious ones. We were talking about the Braves. Hello. The Atlanta Braves are in New York this weekend. They are playing the Yankees. You had mentioned they just got Tyler Mahle, and the Braves are going to throw him tonight. They'll do Max Fried, and just looking ahead before we talk about tonight's game, tomorrow, Chris Sale and Garrett Cole, and on Sunday, Grant Holmes and Cam Schlittler. A full weekend of really good pitching for the most part. Tonight, Mahle and Fried.
And it's a great, matchup for the Yankees. The Yankees are throwing their best 3 pitchers. Here it is. Let's see what we can do. And they're going to throw everything they have at the Braves. And the Braves lineup is been incredible this year. They're really good. I mean, Olson's got like 32 bombs for first baseman for the Braves. Tonight's matchup, those really slided towards the Yankees. I mean, we'll see what Mahle can do, but 3-9 in the season, ERA over 5. Giants fans have known he has not been really that good. He has pitched a little bit better of late, so I can't, totally criticize the guy. The guy's ERA is 4.5 over his last 3 outings. But Fried, since he's come back from his injury, he's looked really good. ERA is his whip is under 1 right now. His ERA in his last 3, 2.77. Big question for the Yankees is, are they going to score enough runs to beat the Braves? Because the Braves do have enough hitting to put a few runs on the board. Or is it going to be like another Yankees 2-0 win?
So as we were going through looking at the schedules and the standings, and we keep mentioning the Phillies in the National League wild card race, and they're in it, and right behind them are 2 National League West teams. We've been talking about them, especially since the trade deadline when the Padres decided we're going to do what we do and went out and said, we're going all in, screw that Rob guy telling us we're not in the playoff hunt. And Steve said, look, the Diamondbacks and the Padres should be looking at the other guy as the enemy. They're going to play each other more. Neither one's going to win the West. Secure that you're in it above them. And hey, if you both get in, good for you. Dodgers, of course, 8-game lead over the Diamondbacks, 10-game lead over the Padres. You look at the wild card thing right now, the Diamondbacks are in it by a game over the Padres. And this weekend, in that American League West, you've got starting tonight, Houston. Oh, look at this. Houston, which we'll get to the American League West in a moment. This is another one of these games. Every one of them matters. Matters for the AL West. Matter maybe for the AL wild card, God forbid. Certainly matters for the National League wild card. What a series. Houston at San Diego. And tonight, San Diego gets to throw their new guy, Robbie Ray.
Yeah, and this is really big weekend for them, playing a really hot Houston Astros team. Let's find out. Robbie Ray, they're bringing him in. because they want to make that pennant run. And by the way, those sitting out there, you may want to take a look at the Padres to make the playoffs. I think they will be that other spot. And if you can get them at, plus money, you may want to take a shot on that. But let's go, Robbie Ray. He's been throwing the ball really well over his last several outings. Blanco is going for the Astros. He's 0-1, not a lot of appearances, but his ERA is 7.7 on the season, which has just been his few starts that he's had. He just came back from injury. He'd been out the whole year up until I think he's had 3 starts or something like that. So you're still working his way back into playing shape. But the Padres, no excuses. Big game last night, 5-1 win over the D-backs. Renifro went 3 for 5. Ty France stepping up. Jackson Merrill had another good game. This guy's been hitting the ball really well for the last couple of weeks, and they need him to start hitting like he did his rookie year, because the last 2 years he hasn't done that much. But the Padres, I think the Padres are primed to make that run. They got a decent outing from Walker Buehler last night. He only went 4 innings, but it was still a decent outing. Gave up 1 run. And time for the Padres. Let's make a move. You're not catching the Dodgers, but you need to catch the D-backs. The D-backs, as you said, got the Dodgers this weekend. So this is your area to make some movement and leapfrog over the D-backs in those standings.
And as we said on Tuesday, the day after the trade deadline, when the Padres they snuck in the Mize trade after the deadline, and it was like, okay, what the Padres need, they have the names, they need the offense, the talent, and get Machado and Tatis get going. Now, you did allude to the other question, though. The Diamondbacks are trying to get through the pot. One of the nice things too about watching is they're both playing well. In that the Diamondbacks have won 6 of their last 10, Padres 7 of their last 10. Yeah, the Diamondbacks have the Dodgers tonight. A, it's in Arizona, to whatever extent that matters. B, the Dodgers are in a different mindset. We keep talking about this. The Dodgers, they're thinking about October. I don't know, do they care who wins, the Diamondbacks? They're caring about the Dodgers. I'm not saying that they're not trying. I don't know if it's as big of an opening, say, for the Padres that, all right, the Diamondbacks, they got the Dodgers this weekend. I just throw it out there. They're in Arizona. They start tonight, and LA is throwing Sasaki while the Diamondbacks are throwing Merrill Kelly.
Yeah, Dodgers are riding that 6-game losing streak. And even though they know they're going to be in the postseason, they're really preparing for October. You can't keep losing. You got to find a way to win a couple of games, or people are going to start pushing that panic button. Arizona's been a much better team at home than they've been on the road so far. Sasaki has really turned it around late in the season, ever since that start with the Yankees. And if you paid any attention to it, he was touching triple digits on the radar gun for the first time, and he did it with several pitches in that game. And it was like, okay, look, I deserve to be here. He's had some injury issues. He's been inconsistent. And I think that game really set him up for hopefully future success, and just another one of those pitchers for the Dodgers that they can march out there. He's 2-0 in his last 3 outings. His ERA is 1.5. His whip is sitting right at about 1. And I think this is since that big outing. Merrill Kelly, I've been on him. He hasn't been that good this year. 8-9 ERA, just over 5. But he has pitched better as of lately. He needs to continue that doing. The Diamondbacks can score runs with Corbin Carroll and Moreno, Marte, Perdomo. It's just, we know they can score, but Merrill Kelly's got to keep them in this game. He's 1-1 in his last 3, ERA a little over 4, but his whip is a little concerning to me. It's sitting at almost 1.5. So hopefully he can figure out how to keep the Diamondbacks in this game and maybe get into that Dodger bullpen and pull one out late.
Again, the game's in Arizona, as Steve mentioned. There is a big difference. In fact, Arizona is 10 games above 500 at home, 3 games under on the road. So we talked about the East, Braves, Phillies, did the West. Let's go to the Central. We'll just start first with the Brewers, who are at that 5.5 game lead, which they haven't gone below that in many weeks. We were wondering, the Cubs, they were prolific, trade deadline. Do they have an opening? They're still sitting at 5.5 back. The Brewers have won 3 in a row. Tonight they open up again. Another one of these series is that matters to both teams and has ramifications all the way down through the weekend. They are hosting the Minnesota Twins, who are throwing Zebby Matthews at Shane Drowan for Milwaukee.
Yeah, Twins though, they showed they're going all in here. Matthews will be making the start. Drohan for the Brewers. This isn't another guy that the Brewers picked up from the Red Sox and that Caleb Duran thing. He's been pretty good so far on the season. He's sitting at 4-4, ERA just over 4. His WHIP is sitting at 1.2, but he's been better. He's 2-1 in his last 3 outings. His WHIP is just over 1. And again, Red Sox just giving up this pitching everywhere. The Brewers just continue to find ways to win. They're playing good baseball, and we'll see what the Twins can do here, and if they can go out on the road and win a game in Milwaukee.
And anytime you mention the Brewers and a 3-game series, the question is there. The answer is Sunday. Mizorowski throws on Sunday for the Brewers. So let's do the rest of the Central, because, look, the Cubs, they're 5.5 back. I don't know. They're certainly, you can't eliminate them from winning the division. When do the Cubs play the Brewers? All that. Everybody else would be wild card territory. Well, gee whiz, Steve. The Cardinals are 15 games back in the division, and we already eliminated them from the wild card. They're 3.5 out. If we just didn't see it. The Reds, they're 15.5 back in the Central. We already eliminated them. Come on, the Reds, and now Hunter Green's out. They're 4 games back. The Steelers, the Pirates, who we admit we want to see the Pirates get there. They're in last place now after a bad week. They've lost 8 of their last 10. They are 4.5 back in the wild card. I don't know if you're ready to bury them in the wild card. I still want to believe they have the talent, but boy, it ain't looking good. Pittsburgh better do something to turn around. Is this the weekend? Because they host the Mets. Is this it? Is it? Or does it, better put, does it has to be? Do the Pirates need to turn around here?
I think they has to be. They just have not been playing good baseball. They've remade that whole bullpen. Hopefully it'll get settled here shortly, that everyone gets comfortable in what their roles are going to be moving forward. They got a lot of talent, as we said, on this Pirates team, nice and young, but they're playing the Mets. The Mets sold off their entire bullpen. Their season's over. They got Zach Thornton going tonight for the Mets. Who's a lefty. He's been all right. He's 2-2, ERA just under 3 so far in the season. Pretty good pitcher there. And the Pirates are going Majemski. He will be a opener for them. Not sure how long he's going to go. He's been a swingman all season long with starts and middle relief and all that. Pirates got to figure out how to start winning. I mean, the Reds gone on a 4-game winning streak, and now they are ahead of them. And the Red season's been so disappointing. As you said, Hunter Green back on the IL. But this was the year for the Pirates. Let's make a run to make the playoffs. And they've just started really fizzling, dropped the last few games against the Brewers, and that was their opportunity to make a move, get some confidence, and they're right back to being Pittsburgh Pirates.
We alluded a lot through some of these matchups to the American League, and we jump over. We'll start with the Tigers and the Mariners and focus first on the American League West. But Dylan Dingler went out and homered for the 3rd straight game, finished with 3 hits. Tigers blow out the Mariners in Seattle, 11-0 yesterday. The Tigers won for the 5th time in 6 games without Scooble. He's gone. They are now within a game of Texas in the race for the final American League wildcard spot. Tigers have scored at least 8 runs or more in 7 of their last 8 games. We'll get back to the Tigers, the Central, and that. The loss dropped Seattle 4 games below 500, 3 games behind Houston in the AL West, a game and a half out of the wild card. Seattle continues to be like, what are they doing? The West, okay, in general, we're going to have to dissect it all the time. Houston's a game and a half up over Texas. Texas has won 2 in a row. They're the only ones winning. Here's what it looks like this weekend, Steve. Texas will be at home against Baltimore. Seattle is at home against Tampa Bay, who's throwing Rasmussen today, and Detroit is at the Giants. Take your pick. We'll get to the Detroit Giants game. Sorry, I shouldn't even mention that. In the West, same thing. Astros, Mariners, the Rangers. What are we doing?
Yeah, the Mariners, though, shut out 2 of their last 3 games against the Tigers. They just continue to disappoint. They got Gilbert going tonight at home. He's 8-6 on the season. ERA just under 3.5. His WHIP is under 1. He's been throwing the ball great. 1-0 in his last 3 outings. His WHIP in the last 3 under 1. But they just are not consistent. They can win a game, they lose a game. They have all this pitching, they can't get it done. And they're facing Tampa Bay. This is a team that has better pitching than the Mariners. Drew Rasmussen going tonight has been a stud. He needs to be in that Cy Young talk. In the AL, he's not going to win it, but he's sitting at 10-5, ERA under 3. His WHIP is sitting at 0.93, which rolls towards that elite category. He's 3-0 in his last 3 outings, an ERA of 1, and his WHIP in his last 3 is 0.83. He has really turned it on for this Tampa Bay Rays team, and Seattle's got their hands full. They cannot afford to keep losing like they've been doing.
It seems to me like this is, again, if you're going to encapsulate as we get closer and closer to the end of the season, this seems to me like the weekend test for the Rangers. They're hosting Baltimore. The Astros have to go into San Diego. We already covered that. The Astros have their hands full this weekend. Seattle has their hands full. They might be at home. They got Tampa Bay coming in. This is that opportunity, right? Texas, you control your own destiny. Win. Let the Astros lose at least 1 or hopefully 2 in your eyes to the Padres. You're back in first.
Yeah, and Texas, they got Evaldi on the mound. He's 10-9 on the season. He's one of their aces on this team. ERA a little over 4. But in his last 3 outings, though, he has not been good. He's 1-2, ERA just over 6, and a WHIP at almost 1.5. That's putting way too many base runners on. This Orioles team, where I get on them, they don't have the pitching. They got that young talent. They're kind of stuck in jail. They still believe that they can compete for the wild card spot. I don't believe that. I don't think they have enough pitching. But Shane Baz is on the mound. He's 4-10, but he hasn't been as bad as his record shows. His ERA is 3.8. And over his last 3 outings, just to give you an idea how bad it's gone for him, he is 0-1 in his last 3 outings, but an ERA of 1.69, and his WHIP is 1.26, which means he's thrown the ball really well, which is dangerous because Texas at times, does struggle to hit a little bit, even though they have picked it up as of late. The last 3 weeks or so, they've been hitting the ball a lot better. But this is one of those, they really can't afford to lose to Baltimore. But Baltimore's still playing, though. They still think they are a playoff caliber team.
Now, I forget who you were before I could jump over to the Central. Was it Rasmussen? It doesn't matter who, but you were saying that his WHIP was like 0.9 or something. And you said that almost made him elite. The first, when you not finally, it's not like I'd been asking, I just didn't know. When I had you explain to me a lot of these new stats, the WHIP was the one, as a guy who pitched through high school, that I went, that's a cool stat. Mm-hmm. That tells me a lot about a pitcher when you're letting this was my metric, fewer than 1 guy on base per inning. Okay, I got a good idea of how good you are. Well, what's elite if it's not? To me, it's anything below 1. You said 0.9 puts them close.
Well, puts him close as far as us talking about elite pitchers. We're still up with the Zach Wheelers, the Schlittlers, the Scoobles, those type of pitchers. His numbers, if your WHIP is under 1, you are in that elite pitcher category because you're allowing less than 1. But how many people do you know, casual fans who know who Drew Rasmussen is, where you're going to know these other pitchers? And that's where he keeps pitching like this, everyone will start knowing who he is.
By the way, tonight, for fans, you're on Apple TV. If you don't have a Major League Baseball package, for some reason, that Texas game is the early game. They could have chosen better. But the Tampa Bay-Seattle game is the late game on Apple TV. So I alluded to it mistakenly. I got ahead of myself because we were talking about the Tigers. Let's jump over to that American League Central. White Sox first place by 3 games over the Twins and the Howardians. But wait, the Tigers are only 3.5 back. This glorious little run they're on after trading Scooble and seemingly saying, they're still in it. And they have an opportunity this weekend, Steve. Not only are the Tigers only 3.5 back in the Central, this bunched up American League wild card race, you've got Yankees, Red Sox, Rangers in right now, and then you've got 5 teams less than 2 games back: Twins, Guardians, Orioles, Tigers, Mariners. So Tigers are right there in the thick of it. They got a whole weekend in San Francisco. Who the hell are they throwing? I crossed out who they're throwing. Montero? Who is that? Whoever the Detroit's throwing. I don't have who San Francisco's. What's going on tonight in San Francisco, Steve?
Yeah, the Tigers playing really well. Had a nice series up in Seattle. They had struggled all season long on the road, and now suddenly they're a pretty decent team on the road, hoping to keep it going at San Francisco, who's been struggling as of late. They've lost 2 in a row. Montero is going for the Tigers. He's their swingman. He's the guy. He has started X amount of games. He's been a relief pitcher for them. He's 6-5 on the season. He's had a really good year. If you look at his numbers, his ERA is just a little over 3. His whip is sitting right around 1. And over his last 3 outings, he's 2-1, ERA at 3. His whip is 1.09. Going against the Giants. The Giants are starting JT Brubaker as the opener in tonight's game, so he's going to throw an inning, maybe 2. But Hauser is going to be the bulk reliever. They've kind of bumped him out of that rotation. Let's see if this helps him, coming in relief for the bulk innings. He doesn't have to face the top of the lineup. We've seen some pitchers like Brian Bayo, who's had some success and has thrown a lot better as a relief pitcher coming in that second or third inning. So we'll see what the Giants can do, but their season's over right now. They're evaluating talent, figuring out what they need to do, and hopefully figuring out how they're going to improve and be somewhat competitive next season.
Since you mentioned it, it's an opportunity to give you an update on the race for the bottom. Yes, the Giants have lost 2 in a row, but gee whiz, the Rockies have lost 3 in a row. So currently, the Giants are firmly just in their own little division and in the National League, 3 games ahead of the Rockies. The real race, though, for futility may be in that American League between the Angels and the A's, as they're both clinging. In fact, the Angels are the worst right now. A's are tied with the Rockies. Let's stay in the Central and go back to, we've already talked about the Twins, who are, if you use all the tiebreakers, in second place, but they're with the Howardians 3 games back with the White Sox. As this thing bunches up, the Twins are a half game behind in the wild card. The Howardians are a half game behind as well. And we did the Detroit game. Let's see who else. Oh, how about another one? Big series in Chicago, as Cleveland will play the White Sox. Come on, Cleveland. You want to win 3? You want to be tied for first? You want to win 2? Make it close. They are throwing Parker Messick, and Noah Schultz is going for the White Sox tonight.
Yeah, this is that big series for first place in the AL Central. Both teams riding 3-game losing streaks. Got to figure out, the Mets beating up on the Guardians. There's no excuse for the Guardians getting beat there. The White Sox, tough series with the Red Sox. Red Sox pulled out last night's game in 13 innings and a 12-11 win. Red Sox just keep playing magical baseball. But now it's go time. I mean, Parker Messick's been the best pitcher for Cleveland. Him and Gavin Williams have been the 2 aces on this staff. He's 8-6. His ERA is sitting right around 2.5. His whip is just north of 1. But he is 0-1 in his last 3 outings, but not his fault. He's been throwing the ball well. His ERA in his last 3 outings, 1.6. His whip is just under 1. He is a really good pitcher. Noah Schultz, the number 1 prospect for the White Sox. He's had some moments where he's looked really good, but he's had a lot of that moments of learning at the big league level. 3-7 on the season, ERA just north of 3. His whip is sitting right around 1.5. He will become their ace going forward, next year, possibly the following year. But right now, He's just learning at the level. The Guardians have to find a way to steal a win here. They have their best pitcher, because if they lose tonight's game, this is could be an ugly series here, and maybe the White Sox will end up taking 2 of 3, if not sweep the Guardians. So great series, looking forward to it. But one of these two teams needs to step up.
And you did mention Gavin Williams. He'll throw tomorrow for the Hawardians. So I'm guessing Monday will dictate a lot of where our feelings are based on how do the Guardians and the White Sox play. But right now, Steve, I still don't believe in the Twins. I can't. I don't. I won't. But I do still kind of believe in the Tigers. But I think that's all because I want the chaos to happen of the post-Scooble Tigers somehow finding a way. In the end, is it still for you? Is it White Sox Guardians pending the weekend, or are you cooler on the Guardians?
I think it's the White Sox and the Guardians in this division. I'm pulling for the Tigers, and I don't think people realize how good Melton is. I think he's 8-1 now for them. And he's a really good young pitcher who is showing how dominant he really can be. And keep in mind, he has elite stuff. This is a guy who's not just hot right now. He is going to be the ace of this Tigers team going forward. The Twins, I'm with you. I'm just not sold that they're there. And the White Sox, I mean, even last night's game, the Red Sox sweep them. The White Sox, the thing I love about it is they didn't give up. The White Sox, I believe, scored in every extra inning in that game. So it wasn't like, oh, the Red Sox won because they scored in the bottom of the inning and the White Sox didn't score. The White Sox scored 1 to 2 runs and everyone, they never quit. And I love seeing teams when they have excuses to quit and they don't. And that's one of the things I love about this White Sox team.
And within there, as you mentioned, your Boston Red Sox won their 8th in a row. They are 5 back in the East of the Tampa Bay Rays. The Yankees are 4.5 back of the Tampa Bay Rays. And hey, just for fun, we already talked about Tampa Bay is in Seattle all weekend. We talked about the Yankees. They have to deal with the Braves. Pretty much at this point, the only way you get talked about if you're the A's is if you're playing somebody that matters. So are you, Steve, as a Red Sox fan, are you licking your chops? The Red Sox are up to a game under 500 at Fenway. They've got the A's, and it is now just understood if the A's have the lead in the 8th, they will lose. It is a given, unless that lead is 5 runs or more, and even then it's not guaranteed. Here you go. Jack Perkins is coming. Ooh. Are you? I'm an A's fan, for those of you who are wondering. A self-loathing one today. Peyton Tolle is throwing for the Red Sox.
Yeah, but I roll back to this series when it was in Sacramento just, a few days back. The A's played the Red Sox tough. The Red Sox beat them in the 7th inning, one game, the 8th inning, another. But the question I got to ask is, watching these A's as you do every day, and I've been watching a lot of their games too. I honestly am not sure if and when they're going to win another game. And I know they will. It's baseball. They're going to. But, man, this team, when you're saying race to the bottom, there's not a whole lot of hope here because of this pitching staff. And Jack Perkins learning at the level. He's 0-4, ERA 7.5. Whip at 1.5. He's been a little bit better as of late in that he did have a nice last outing. Not that it was great, but it showed a little bit of promise. But man, this A's team is bad. Peyton Tolle, he's like Schlittler. I'm starting to worry on him and the innings that he's putting in. He has not been the same pitcher over the last 3, 4, possibly 5 starts. He's sitting at 6-6 on the year. But in his last 3 outings, he's 1-0 because the Red Sox have been doing everything right. It just has been incredible. His ERA is 4.2. His whip is almost at 1.5. He's given up 4 homers in the last 17 innings. He's starting to get tired. We're seeing that. And that concerns me a little bit with the Red Sox, but they have a lot of pitching. Their bullpen during this run has been lights out. I want to say the bullpen ERA in the last X amount of games is something like 0.8. They have just been outstanding at the pitching department and that bullpen as of late, and really the pitching all year long. And no matter what the White Sox threw at them, I mean, Mydriff did a 2-run homer in the top of, I think it was the 10th inning. Red Sox came back, 2 out base hits to win the game. And by rights, the Red Sox should sweep but the A's played them tough, and I gotta believe the A's. They have to muster one win out of this at least, don't they?
Well, they keep talking, certainly during the broadcast, about they desperately want to win. They feel it. It doesn't seem like they've lost their enthusiasm or whatever, but it really has become comically pathetic the way they cannot hold leads because they've improved greatly in a lot of areas. Their hitting has been really consistent, and they're starting to get decent starts by guys they shouldn't. Maybe Perkins will even throw a decent one. Wasn't Jacob Lopez just one of them? Yeah.
Hey, look, Jacob Lopez, last 2 or 3 outings, you haven't heard me be critical at all. He's looked like he belonged there.
And then the bullpen, and it all fizzles. They'll win and they'll be good. It's funny because the A's, and they're the team of my youth. My mom, who doesn't get the channel you need locally to see the A's game, so she just relies on me but she gave up on them weeks ago. Now it's a question of, she texts me at night, how bad have the A's blown it, sort of thing. So it's just become, and I just watch because I like to be self-loathing. But I also realized the A's have been in Sacramento for almost 2 seasons. There probably isn't a season next year, and then they go to Vegas. I've been to Sutter Health Field, but not for an A's game. So I actually did get some tickets. So I hope, if they're only going to win 2 more games this year, maybe the next couple Fridays, 2 of the next 4 Fridays or something like that, they'll choose to, because I'll actually be there to see this match. But what was interesting was, we made a reference yesterday. Was it the Marlins or the Rays? We were talking about just leave. It just, nobody goes.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, nobody goes to support you, and we comically were throwing out cities, and I said, hey, put them in Sacramento, because the A's right now, as what do we say, 2nd or 3rd worst team in baseball, are outselling the Rays, who are in first place. Whether the actual attendance matches up or not, that's different. They don't care. They're getting their money. So I'm online yesterday, and I start with, okay, next Friday, the A's are playing the Rangers. Wow. Ticketmaster, who usually has second ticket, no tickets. I'm like, what? Oh, they're doing fireworks. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll go Saturday. No ticket. You got to go secondary market. Even Ticketmaster, secondary market, nothing. You got to go StubHub, that kind of thing. So, again, the Sacramento thing, the fans have bought in. The corporations have bought in. And they're still, I don't check it all the time, they're getting 9 to 10,000 people to show up, of the 12,500 they're selling every night, to still show up and watch this team. And that's fun too. Is at least it seems there's this embrace, and I know when I saw the River Cats there, it's a fun park. I haven't been there since they made it as close as they could to a major league park. They got the outfield grass and all that. I think they've done a good job. I don't know that Sacramento's even in the conversation now these days, but they've certainly made a good mark for themselves.
Yeah, and hats out to them. I mean, that was one of the things we talked about when we heard and announced that Sacramento was going to be the home of the A's for 3 years. It's like, go Sacramento, support the team, show up for the games, try to show Major League Baseball that you deserve a major league team. You already got one in the NBA. Let's show that you can do it. They've done a wonderful job with that. And as you said, they're out drawing Tampa Bay. So it'd be great if somebody somewhere is looking at it going, you know what, maybe Tampa Bay can move there. I don't know if it really works until the Major League Baseball expands by 2 more teams, because when they add the expansion teams, they're going to have to do realignment and change it. But that would be a great time for, say, Tampa Bay to go to Sacramento or something. And sorry to say this, I don't think Sacramento, they're on the radar. They've voiced they want an expansion team. But from everything I hear, they're looking at Nashville, they're looking at Montreal, and they're looking at Utah. It looks like Utah's really going to get one of the expansion teams, and we'll see where it plays from there. But it doesn't mean that Tampa Bay can't get, or somebody in Sacramento can buy Tampa Bay and relocate them and move them. That would be great.
I think the couple comments, the Utah thing makes sense. It's the third year in a row, it's the fastest growing state in America. So yeah, that makes sense. And I do wonder about the reverse Vegas thing going on in Sacramento. You talked about, hey, you give us a homegrown Golden Knights team or the Aces. That's our team. That's a Vegas. But you brought the Raiders here. Well, we're all from places where we hate the Raiders. It's not quite the same. How will they react to the A's? So the reverse A's thing in Sacramento is a lot of A's fans already in Sacramento. There's a lot of people that live between Sacramento and Oakland that are A's fans. They live in Vallejo, 45 minutes to get to a game and back, no big deal. Would Sacramento embrace the Sacramento Rays like they did the A's? I don't know. I just don't know. The Sacramento, pretty fickle with the Kings, for example. They're great when the Kings are good, not so much when the Kings are bad. So I don't know yet.
But wouldn't you be willing to roll the dice? Tampa Bay's been really good now for what, like the last 15, 20 years. They're competitive, best record in the American League this year, and still they cannot outdraw the A's in Sacramento. I mean, it just shows how bad Tampa Bay is. Ownership at some point's got to, we have to go somewhere.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter. Building a new ballpark's not the answer, because if you can't get them in this ballpark, a different ballpark in the same city is not going to do anything. So they got to look at Orlando or Nashville. They have to look somewhere else and just move that team out of that area.
Yeah, from the Rays standpoint, I agree entirely. And then from the big, I think you and I have already solved this, like usual with most problems. The right solution for everybody involved: keep the A's in Sacramento, get John Fisher the hell out of here, buy him off. Don't let him have a team in Vegas. Buy him off. Let Mark Cuban go to Vegas. I don't know what the hell. Or he gets the A's in Sacramento. Who cares? Vegas gets an expansion team is what they get, because that's what works in Vegas.
Yes.
Tampa Bay, they can figure it out. Orlando, Nashville, who cares? And then you still have room, for one more, the other expansion team, Buffalo, whoever's going to get it. Good, we just solved the problem.
I'm hoping Montreal. I really have. Montreal's owner screwed that team over so bad. I mean, Major League, that movie was, in my opinion, written about the Expos, because that is exactly what the Expos did. They had the clause in their contract that he could get out, so he destroyed the team. No attendance, blew up his agreement and partnership with Labatt's, entirely sabotaged that franchise. They deserve a franchise, and I hope they get one in expansion.
The Expos had a great history. It's silly to have one team in Canada. I wouldn't argue with Montreal and they were a good baseball town. I wouldn't argue with that for 1 second.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
The first time Corey walked into my home, I came around the corner, extended my right hand to shake it, and said to him, "Wow, you're big." And that would be Corey from QuickDumpsters.com. Quick is spelled wrong intentionally. Quick, QUI, can charge and removed dozens of boxes of total junk, unusable dog kennels, desks that were falling apart, a worthless old smoker that couldn't be fixed, bag after bag of crap, and I can't remember what else. He was quick, spelled wrong, QUIK, quiet and clean. Well, he wasn't clean. I mean, he was. But I'm not commenting on his hygiene. I meant that his work was clean. He swept everything when he was done, and the house looked like he'd never even been there. Corey's the real deal, and I couldn't be more proud and happy to call him a brand new advertiser. His story is incredible, his dedication unmatched, and his motivation to succeed larger than he is, and that's saying something. Quotes are free. You don't even have to have them over to your house. Just send him some pics or videos, and you'll get your price, schedule your day and time, and watch someone else get that junk out of your house. Go to QuickDumpsters.com. Quick, QUIK, Dumpsters.com. Quick, QUIK, Dumpsters.com. Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
Steve has been running sports books for decades, and Rob spent decades running radio so far into the ground he just created his own network. This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show on the Rad Network.
Back to the NFL, as we talked yesterday, worst kept secret in all of the National Football League is Aaron Donald's coming back. I mean, can we just stop? He's working his way back into football shape, had to report as I did training in a helmet and pads or whatever. And then Sean McVay said he looked great. And, we're moving from our temporary facility to our usual one. And sometime after that, he's going to make his decision. I didn't get the connection. Well, now, all the reporting is that within days, he's going to make his decision. We know what the decision is. This isn't a LeBron deal. And the idea is that the rumors are he would play week 1 against the Niners in Australia. The goal would be 30 to 40 snaps, according to multiple reports, all off the record.
And that makes sense. I mean, I love the idea of them at this point just limiting him. I still think if it was me, I wouldn't come back till like Thanksgiving time and make sure that the Rams are in it. They're all healthy. They're going to compete for that Super Bowl run. But just limit his snaps, put him in 50% of the plays, put him in when you really need him type of thing. I don't think they're going to be able to long-term limit him. I think once he gets going, he's going to want to be on the field. And I love the attitude and that desire. And I think he's just going to, I want to play just like I have all the other times in my career. I want to be out there on the field at all times.
And the idea that all reporting is and all Instagram proof is he's never stopped being in football shape. He didn't once even take a month off. He's just stayed. I don't know that he always wanted to come back, but he, for whatever reason, it's not like this has been a long road or that he's not in shape. He's ready to go physically.
Yeah, they would show those videos of him and they'd bring in current athletes like on football teams, etc., to work out, and they couldn't keep up with them. And this is, look, I'm 2 years retired and he can still outperform anyone in the gym who is playing currently and active.
Would you agree with the statement that at this point it would be a shock if Aaron Donald doesn't play this year?
Big shock. I mean, we're talking like 1,000 to 1 odds that he is going to play. It's as big of an odds as there is. I don't know how the Rams would recover if suddenly he said, you know what, in a few days, look, I'm not going to play. The fire's not there. I'm just not going to do it, because the Rams, even though they were still the favorites to win the Super Bowl, I think that would kind of have a backlash, because I think everyone in the Rams coaching staff, the team, everyone out there is viewing him. Look, he is that last piece to pretty much guarantee us to get to the Super Bowl. I think it would take a little bit for them to recover, and they'll still be a great team even if he doesn't play. But I do think they'll have that little bit of a negative effect, because I think every player on the team, coaching staff, etc., believes he's playing for them this year.
Yeah, agreed. We talked when they got Miles Garrett. We asked, well, are they the Dodgers of the NFL? They happen to be in the NFL, and now we're talking about Aaron Donald coming back, and are they the Dodgers of the NFL? Like they're the Ram. It's not the same because it's not the same sport, obviously. But could the Rams? You can't be complacent. Approach it like all we care about is January. We're setting everything up for January. We're gonna get there one way or the other. It's silly because the two sports are so differently, but they are stacked that way. If even without him, like you said, but if Donald comes back,
Yeah, they just got to keep Stafford upright. If Stafford goes down, there goes the season's Ty Simpson coming in. Stafford, like the year the Patriots when Brady went down and Matt Castle had to take over. It's like, everything just gone on that one player. So Stafford's got to stay healthy.
You're putting me in a difficult position here because we have a rule, and it's a rule. We never, and it's legit. Steve and I, as people, you don't root for injuries. That's first. Secondly, you want to beat teams at their best. Now, that said, we like chaos. Steve, you created this story of what a letdown if Aaron Donald doesn't come back. I agree with you. Probably not. It's not an insurmountable letdown, like you said. They'll be fine, but air sucked out. That's a much bigger open the space shuttle while you're in outer space vacuum you create if you go into the season with everything loaded and you start out 3-0, and then I'm trying to think of the non-injury reason you lose Stafford. That, like you said, that is the moment. Crap.
and right now in their depth chart, Stetson Bennett is number 2. Ty Simpson is number 3. So imagine if this happens early in the season, as none of them are really getting that many reps. It happens in like week 2, week 3. And which one of the two are they throwing out there? I would think they'd go with Bennett first, because Ty Simpson's still pretty raw, and see what they could do. But man, that whole season come off the rails when they were set up so perfectly to win it all. And then does Aaron Donald just retire on the spot? Look, that's it. We're done. I can't win it now. Stafford's out for the year. Yeah, I'm out of here.
The minute, again, please don't let anything like this happen. The minute Stafford is down and can't get up within 3 seconds, the Rams have a plan. They all circle around one another with their cell phones on the field. McVay calls Jimmy Garoppolo. Aaron Donald is calling Derek Carr. They're all going, okay, who are we going to get? Who are we going to get? We are not.
Philip Rivers is still sitting there. He's back to being a retired quarterback again. He's available.
All right, what about a guy who did get injured and is coming back? Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes coming off his torn ACL. Now, Andy Reid is indicating he's going to take a different approach with Mahomes than he has in previous preseasons when he did play Mahomes. This morning, Andy Reid said at his press conference he's inclined to not play Mahomes in the first preseason game against the Rams, which is a week from Saturday, and went on to say he doesn't know if Mahomes will see any action before that first Monday night game when the Chiefs host the Broncos. During the Jahmyr Gibbs hold-in, Steve, you made the point. Gibbs is there. He's working out to the level he could, and he's a running back for the most part. While it's neat to get some reps, he should be ready to go. Now, that wouldn't be true of a quarterback usually. Is it true of Mahomes? We don't play a lot of quarterback stuff in terms of games, and Mahomes is there. He's working out. We see the damn videos. Does he need to play? Or is it smarter to go, don't risk it, let him go out there, but you're going out against the Broncos?
I wouldn't play him, let him go. We were talking, is he going to be out the first 4, 5, 6 weeks? The fact that he is going to be ready to go week 1 is amazing, and a tribute to him and his recovery and the medical staff and everything they've done to put him in this situation. He goes out and plays in preseason and goes and gets hurt again. Oh my gosh. Talk about Monday morning quarterback. What are you doing? He wasn't supposed to be back till October, and you rushed him quickly. You put him out there unnecessarily. I don't think they can. I think they have to wait. He'll get his reps. It won't be quite the same, but you have to believe they're going to be doing some scrimmages against some other teams and getting him in the full contact. That's the part I'd be a little bit worried about, because you're always a little anxious that first time he gets hit and gets hit hard. How's he going to bounce back up? Hopefully he will bounce back up. And those are things that even though you scrimmage, you can't fully get to that 100% of the game feel, but I don't risk it at all. I let him go and not play in the preseason, and I worry about week one and hope that he's shaken off enough rust to be, pretty good quarterback for week one. And he's only going to get better once he takes that first hit and survives it, because his game will come back to him. And hey, look, my knee's fine, and we're good and we're ready to go.
The modern day memory that right away sneaks into my mind that you hate to even imagine. And again, he's at the camp. They can't fully recreate the game, no matter how much you do practice and all that, is Aaron Rodgers in that first game with the Jets. Mm-hmm. We were just making up these letdowns in LA. Aaron Donald says, no, I'm not coming back. It's horrible. Hopefully never happens. Stafford gets hurt thing. This one's more likely, and nobody's obviously wishing for it, but everything's good. Mahomes wasn't even supposed to play first game. They're ready to go. Oh, that Monday Night Football game. You're right. The first time he's under pressure and gets hit low, it'll be that, and we'll wait and see.
I hope he just bounces up quickly. Don't even lay on the field and give us any of that thought. And going back to that Jets Monday night game, talk about just a letdown for the whole rest of the game. I couldn't even tell you who won. I just know that Rodgers went down, all that hype, all ready to see him, and then it was like game over, season over.
Story.
3 plays into the season, it's over.
The only thing we didn't know at that point was how weird it would get from there.
Yeah.
And on the bouncing up thing, from what we know of Mahomes, I would not be at all surprised if he's not practicing that at home. Like he intentionally trips, and the whole thing, he's got his wife Brittany is timing him with a stopwatch. All right, you bounced up in 0.3 seconds. Come on, we can do it faster. Speaking of quarterbacks, we discussed earlier in the week this debate that will Francisco Mendoza, which one is it? It's
Fernando.
That's it, because I always think of Valenzuela, and I've got to remember that that's right. Because in my brain, I'm going, wait, is it right or wrong? Fernando or Fernando Valenzuela, as in Fernando Mendoza. Will he start? Should he start? And yesterday, it's like, well, Cousins, how long does he sit? How long should he sit? Reporting yesterday from Graziano on ESPN is that the voice that is the most loud saying, sit Mendoza, keep him sat, is Tom Brady. Brady is the one that is screaming, according to reporting. I'm not saying that anyone's screaming back, but the reporting is Brady's the loudest voice saying, don't play him unless, and whatever the unless is. Cousins is dead. There's Mendoza's blowing everyone away in practice or something like that.
I think they got to just sit him for the year. If Cousins goes down early, I still go to Aiden O'Connell if he's the third string quarterback on this roster. I want to see Mendoza sit because I want to see him be successful in the league. And if he comes up and he plays, the Raiders aren't going to be any good. He's just going to get beat up. You're going to hurt his confidence. Just let him sit. Learn the NFL lifestyle, and then next year let him compete for that number 1 spot.
If life was a movie or a cartoon, and it does seem like it's becoming that every day, what would really happen if if Cousins went down for the year, is that Mark Davis would go to Tom Brady and go, well, you don't want Mendoza to play, suit up. And then you get this story of Tom Brady coming played quarterback, and they sign a golden retriever as his main wide receiver. That's what would happen in the movie version. And the NFL would allow it. It's fine. And he'd still be the top color commentator. He would they would restructure the games. Tell me I'm that far off from reality so that he could play and still do commentary.
Yeah, we're either going to move all the Raider games to non-Sunday games so he can still do the Sundays, or whatever that featured game is he's going to pick up the Saturday, the Thursday, whatever those games are, so he can still play on Sunday.
Kind of a non-story story, but with a little bit of a. The NFL suspended Saints wide receiver Brock Rechsteiner for the first 6 games of the season. They did not indicate the reason. He's an undrafted rookie. He's the son of Scott Rechsteiner. Those of you that are into such things might remember him as Scott Steiner. He got rid of the Rec. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame. Probably the end of the NFL journey for Rechsteiner. He was a Jacksonville State player. Obviously, it's just 6 games, no mention.
I'd like to know, is it a little steroids? Did he dip into his father's stash somewhere and oops, accidentally got caught? I'd like to know what it was for.
I thought there were Dad's ED pills. It was a mistake. Okay, in April, Joe Buck said that he wants to spend the rest of his career at ESPN because you're going to see Joe Buck and Troy Aikman more than you ever wanted to. I like them, but because ESPN's got the Super Bowl this year, or this season, which means Disney has it, which means the NFL has it. It's already obnoxious, and it's only going to get more obnoxious. With the upcoming season, both Buck and on-air partner Troy Aikman are entering their final years of their deals together. This is a deal just as a broadcaster, I never understood why Joe Buck, and good for him, he got more money than he needs, maybe wants to be with his family, that he chose to go from the guy at Fox. Anything Fox has you do, no, I'm just going to do Monday night on ESPN. Good for him. I mean, he's out now. He's doing ESPN Jeopardy or whatever, but they both signed 5-year. God, they've been doing it 5 years for Monday Night Football. ESPN pays Aikman $18 million. Buck gets $15 million. Oh, Aikman's got to love that. Hey, Joe, I make more than $3 million more than you. Yeah, that's right.
$18 million a year for 1 game a week during the football season. That's a sweetheart of a deal. And I'm curious to see how quickly he's going to pass his earnings in the NFL. I would believe he's already past it. But 18 million a year. My 5 years at ESPN, I made more than I made my entire career with the Dallas Cowboys.
And I mean, in fairness and in comparison, this is what your top color analysts, Romo, we don't know where he's going. This is what they get. Tens of millions of dollars a week. And no, it's not really 1 day a week. They got to fly in if it's a Sunday game, Thursday, do meetings, meet with players. Yeah. And it's 5 months a year. Yeah. It's a great gig. And you're talking about the thing you love. And the thing about Aikman, back to the, talk the talk, walk. He's great at it. Good for him. I'm glad he makes $18 million.
Yeah, he's incredible. I love listening to him. As you said, Greg Olson. And if anybody deserves to get paid that amount of money, it's Troy Aikman and Greg Olson.
And that's the story is what will Aikman, and so Aikman and Buck are both represented by the same agency. Will they just sign and there's no story here? Would they? CBS, does CBS get into the mix for Aikman now that they got the Tony Romo problem? In terms of like a competing network, the only thing that's out there is Amazon because their deal's up, not Amazon's deal, but Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit's deal is up. Al Michaels, 1 billion years old. At some point, Amazon's got to look towards who's next. I mean, it's like, is this really going to be the arc of the Buck Aikman era? We're going to go from the number 1 team on Fox and Buck can do all the other stuff too. We do Monday Night Football on ESPN too. We do Thursday Night Football on Amazon. No, they're not going to do that. They would have to throw a bunch of money at him, I would think, for that. The NFL is introducing its first ever Thanksgiving Eve game this year. So that'll be the night before Thanksgiving. You'll get the Rams and the Packers. That'll be on Netflix and only on Netflix. Yes, it's one of the games you have to have streaming to get it. Also that night on Prime. And it's not, you have to watch one or the other. It was going to be, and my understanding is they've now moved it up, but it's still sports related, and I'll remind you when we get there. Prime, Amazon, is about to release the Madden movie. They had it set for the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Now they're talking about put it up a week earlier. Either way, when we get there, I'll tell you. At first I went, these buy-ups, I don't know. I've seen the trailer, and John Madden is from Pleasanton in the East Bay of California, where I grew up. well known in the city. I always love Madden. I think Steve and I agree. Best color. You want to talk about color commentator? The guy who changed everything. You always talk about, when we're talking best ever, Jordan, transformative. Ooh, who transformed broadcasting from that side of the booth more than John Madden?
No one. And his little telestrator, whatever that thing was called, he'd just scribble on that. He'd get all excited. Oh, that's just classic Madden.
And somehow, because of who he is, his personality and such, he was able to do these things that would seem so goofy and contrived if anyone else did them. And we the damn turducken every year, Madden's turducken of the game presented to the best player. Anybody else tried that? It's like, you loser. Madden? Sure. Sounds great. So, biopic. I don't know what they're covering, how they're covering it. I know it focuses heavily on his time as coach of the Raiders because Madden will be played by Nicolas Cage. I know Steve's not a big movie guy. I'll step in here. Nick Cage, he's had some amazing roles. He's also really weird. You never know what you're going to get. Again, I've seen the trailer. I'm watching this thing. Al Davis is going to be played by Christian Bale, who played Batman in all of the Christopher Nolan movies. Excellent actor. That sold me. They bring it they got Catherine Hahn, John Mulaney, Sienna Miller, Shane Gillis are all in it. That'll be in the middle of November. I'll remind you when we get there, but I'm fascinated to see what they do with it and what they're actually portraying. Is it the Madden Davis relationship? Is it Madden? Do we get his broadcasting career, which I've seen from the trailer? It looks like we do. I might get you finally, Steve, to subscribe to Amazon to watch that.
We will see, and I'm curious if they're going to talk about the video game. I mean, the Madden football's like the greatest video game ever put out, and he has such a great story. I'm such a huge fan. I hope they touch a little bit on the Miller Lite commercials with all of the different ones, because remember, he always busted through the advertising in the back with his whatever it was. So I hope they touch a little bit on that, because that's another one of my fond memories of commercials that I still remember to this day, of ones that I loved.
So yesterday, late afternoon, early evening, I get a text from Steve. It's something about Carson Beck and Rookie of the Year offensively, and I look at it. This is so indicative of it. I look at it, and Steven, we've talked before. We don't always respond to each other. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'll make a note. Okay, I'll wait and see. And I saw it, and I went, huh? Okay. And I thought, why is he texting me? Like, it didn't even connect to me that there was a football game last night, Hall of Fame game, and Carson Beck, and I was like, and then I woke up this morning and went, oh, is that the connection? Okay, so here's the deal. Jacoby Brissett, number one quarterback for the Cardinals. But head coach Mike LaFleur said that Carson Beck gave the Cardinals what they wanted to see in that Hall of Fame game last night. He got the start, first preseason game, led 3 scoring drives in the first half, and finished up 15 of 19 for 188 yards. And you texted me something like he's 30-1 to win offensive Rookie of the Year. Were you making that up?
No, I just put it out there, as a person to take a look at. I was hoping when I went searching that he'd be like 50 or 100. He's down to 30, so obviously I'm not the only one. So he looked good. I normally never watch the Hall of Fame game. I couldn't even tell you the last time I ever have. I watched the majority of this game. I watched the whole first half, and I probably watched the fourth quarter as well. Missed the third quarter probably for dinner or something like that. He looked good. And I know it's all the backups and nobody's really playing, but he did not look like a deer in the headlights on that field. He had command of the offense. He was making the right choices. He was hitting the receivers. He made a couple of really tough throws where he was able to get the ball into a very small window. Not saying that he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but watching that game, and as bad as the Cardinals are going to be, well, if Jacoby Brissett doesn't look good and they go to Gardner Minshew, there's a possibility that by like week 8, week 9, Carson Beck might be the starting quarterback if he can put up some decent numbers. And And that's the big question. But he did not look intimidated in any way on that field. And it
Hmm.
goes to, he's played in so many pressure games in college football with Georgia, last year with Miami, the big moment he's been there. So, and he's played a long career in college football. So he's got the starts. It's one of those, he was way more poised than I was expecting him to be in that game.
I have no idea who it was. It was years ago, but a very successful NFL quarterback. I know, was it Aikman? I don't know. It was making the point of preseason NFL games are the perfect, this quarterback was saying, bridge from college to pros. If you were a good in pressure situations like Carson Beck player, because you're already used to the pressure, but now you get a version of the speed. It ain't full speed because, like you said, not all this, but it's different. And if you can hold your own there, it's a reason to go, whoa, can this kid continue to? So it does matter. When you intentionally kind of in the beginning dismissed, oh, I know nobody play. Yeah, but it ain't college. It's still players that were good enough to even be there, the 90 that are worth being there right now.
Yeah, and it's the only reason I watched the game, because I wanted to see how Carson Beck did in this outing. And as you said, you're facing, second, third, fourth stringers, guys just trying to make the team. But those players were all good enough to be in an NFL camp. Which
Right.
means most likely, you're looking at some of the best of the very best, which is better than college football for most of these teams. And he didn't look out of place. I gave him a lot of credit. And that's why I sent it, because I was expecting him to, yeah, he looks a little nervous. He looked like he's been doing this for 20 years.
The Hall of Fame game is played because Hall of Fame inductions are tomorrow. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and Roger Craig. We talked about him earlier in the year. No arguments, right? That all Hall of Famers.
All Hall of Famers. I have no complaints with that. My complaint still is just Belichick was not, in this class. That's still where it goes, and it still rubs me a little wrong.
Now
But
I know
I'm not saying it's gone to the very good Hall of Very Good like I do with baseball.
the looking, obviously Breeze is the biggest name. I wouldn't be surprised if Larry Fitzgerald gives the best speech tomorrow. But to the Belichick thing, to the date, to now, right now, the Hall of Fame has made no changes to the convoluted voting process that kept former Patriots coach Belichick out of the Hall of Fame on the first ballot, per a source. The Hall of Fame's board of directors holds its annual meeting this weekend, and it is likely that the board will consider changes to the current protocol. Right now, the candidates nominated by like a bunch of different committees wind up, and in last year, it was Belichick, Robert Kraft, Roger Craig, who got in, Ken Anderson, Bengals quarterback, and L.C. Greenwood, who were the 5 candidate menu, from which the 50 votes picked 3. To get in, the candidate had to appear on 80% of the ballots, as in 40. Only Roger Craig did. Belichick didn't even get on 40 of them. So will they change that? What will they do? So Belichick was omitted, and that was that big story. But we're waiting to see how they change that and deal with those committee type people, as opposed to you're just eligible to vote on and we're going to vote on you kind of thing.
And I know many people don't have a clue who Kenny Anderson was, but Kenny Anderson was a really good quarterback that flies under the radar, had a great career with the Bengals, led the league, I believe a couple of times in pass completion. I know he had that one year, whatever it was, that they went to the Super Bowl against the Niners the first time. And I want to say he completed over 70% of his passes. And back then, that just didn't happen. It was such a running game. And he was that efficient. I think he only got sacked something like 6 or 8 times in the entire season. It was an unbelievable season. And I hope he gets consideration, because he was I think, in that Hall of Fame category, quarterbacks that nobody even knows who he was.
One of the things we did talk about when we got that list, and we'll talk about it multiple times still as we head towards it, is the 2027 list. So you got people that are still eligible that didn't get in, but whoops, what a stacked group of first-time eligible modern era players. For 27, your first-time eligible players: Star running back Adrian Peterson, Hall of Famer,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Analytics put his. So here are the categories: extremely high, lock. So I'm sorry, lock is first, extremely high, moderate, and low. I can't believe analytics has Adrian Peterson as high. That's third instead of a lock or extremely high.
I think it's a lock, and I'll tell you, if he does not get in after the Belichick thing, then I'm like, the hall of very biased people voting
There
for
we go.
the NFL.
Next guy is this is extremely high by analytics. I would say lock. Ben Roethlisberger,
I think it's a lock.
2-time champ. It's a
Yeah,
lock.
It's a lock.
Okay, here's the only lock they have. The analytics does right now. Rob Gronkowski, 4-time Super Bowl champion, dominant tight end.
I think it's a lock, but I will tell you that I would put in Adrian Peterson ahead of Gronk on my ballot. And I'd probably have Roethlisberger ahead of Gronk on my ballot. I think Gronk could be my third out of the three that you've mentioned.
And they can get 5 in. It's just a matter where you rank them, and then the numbers have to go in. So in that scenario, they would all still get in. The other 2 first-timers who are ranked as moderate include – I'm sorry, there's 3 other first-timers. I'll do the other 2 that are moderate because they didn't even bother to mention one of them. Antonio Brown, wide receiver.
No.
No.
I wouldn't put him in.
I don't even think he's moderate.
No.
Richard Sherman, cornerback, Legion of Boom. Your one of your stipulations is, did they dominate their position for a long enough period of time?
That's the question. I'd have to look at it. He dominated his position, so he meets the criteria, but was it long enough? And when he wasn't at that elite, the last several years, he was mediocre at best. You knew who he was, but he didn't, had a little time with the Niners, etc., but he wasn't that. So I think he is in that borderline. I'd have to do a little bit more to see how long he was in that dominant phase. But I would consider him, yes.
The other first-timer that I find fascinating in terms of the chaos, only because I can't believe it will go undiscussed no matter what happens. How will he react if he doesn't get in? How will so many of us react if he does get in? The people that will make a case for him. If you can't tell, I don't believe this guy should be near the Hall of Fame, but he's a first-time Hall of Famer, and he's got the personality on him. Cam Newton.
No chance.
Thank you. Right?
None. I don't even consider. What do you have? Like 2 really good years in the NFL? Just because you know who he was and people love the Superman celebration. Cam Newton's not even. He can't. I don't want to say the saying with the being a professional athlete to Kenny Anderson. I mean, he can't even hold
his jock. Yeah.
He can't.
No, he can't.
Not even close.
Right now today. Have a great weekend. We're back on Monday.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network, Williams Broadcasting, and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is